On the day we were supposed to get our marriage certificate, my girlfriend stood me up. Out of habit, I opened her male colleague's WeChat moments. As expected, I saw their freshly taken couple photos. A bright red background, white shirts, two faces filled with smiles. It looked exactly like the wedding photos we never got to take. Below the photo, Liu Ryan had even left a string of heart emojis. I thought for a moment and commented below, "Why not get the certificate while you're at it? Such beautiful photos shouldn't go to waste." In an instant, the couple photo was deleted. Liu Ryan angrily called me. Jiasheng lost a game and was teased into a challenge, she said. I was just helping out, nothing more. You're seriously making a big deal out of this little thing. Let's not get married. The truth is, I wasn't making a big deal out of it. I genuinely wanted to break up with her. When Liu Ryan called to defend her male colleague, I was standing under the scorching sun, waiting for a taxi by the roadside. My vision blurred and I mistook her for the driver. My fingers brushed the screen. And by the time I realized, the call had already connected. I could only answer begrudgingly. I know I shouldn't have stood you up. But the company had a team-building event. I couldn't get away. I'll definitely go with you to get the certificate another day. On the other end of the line, Liu Ryan spoke confidently. Jia Sheng and I are just regular colleagues. Stop being paranoid. You're ruining the pure friendship between us. I watched the cars passing by and replied absent-mindedly, "All right, I get it. Why are you brushing me off like this? Are you purposely being sarcastic? Our 3 years together. Why is there no trust at all?" Her tone clearly became displeased. I sighed. Yesterday, you and Zhuo Jiasheng went to a couple's restaurant and used the same excuse of a team-building event. What kind of company lets employees have fun all day without working? There was instant silence on the other end. No! Shen Huan, I had a reason for keeping it from you. Please let me explain. When her voice came through again, it was filled with guilt. No need. I understand. But my ride just arrived. Let's not talk about this now. I hung up the phone and quickly got into the taxi, feeling the cool breeze from the air conditioner. I felt incredibly relieved. At last, I no longer had to stand under the burning sun. In truth, when Liu Ryan was 2 minutes late and still hadn't shown up, I already had a feeling something was off. And after seeing Zhuo Jiasheng's WeChat post, the stone of doubt in my heart settled. I immediately hailed a cab to go back. It had become an instinctual reaction by then. Zhuo Jiasheng was a newly hired intern at the company, working under Liu Ryan. At first, Liu Ryan would complain about him to me, saying he was so dumb he couldn't even use a printer, and must have been hired through connections. But later, though he was still clumsy, he worked very hard. At that moment, I knew her heart was wavering. This wasn't the first time Liu Ryan and I had tried to get our marriage certificate. But every time, something would go wrong, preventing us from going through with it. The first time, Zhuo Jiasheng lost Liu Ryan's ID card, which forced us to cancel the appointment. The second time, I waited outside the Civil Affairs Bureau until nightfall. The staff had all gone home, and only then did Liu Ryan finally show up. She said Zhuo Jiasheng had sprained his ankle, and she had to take him to the hospital, which delayed her. The third time, Zhuo Jiasheng made a work mistake, so Liu Ryan stayed late to help him fix it, once again leaving me behind. By the end, I had become numb to it. No matter what happened to Zhuo Jiasheng, Liu Ryan was always the first to rush to his side. It wasn't that I hadn't confronted her about it, but she always had a perfectly good reason. He's just a young guy fresh out of school. It won't be easy for him to support a family in the future. If I can help, I should just lend a hand. Shen Huan, you're a man too. Why can't you put yourself in his shoes and empathize? Liu Ryan had claimed the moral high ground. like a strong woman naturally protecting a boy with a clear conscience. I had no choice but to watch her run towards someone else, completely helpless. Even the security guard at the Civil Affairs Bureau had grown familiar with me. After seeing me fail to get the certificate a few times, he shook his head and said, "Son, even the heavens are telling you to let go. There's an old saying, if you don't heed the advice of the elders, you'll suffer the consequences right in front of you." I agreed wholeheartedly. "So, Liu Ryan, for the last time, I really don't want to get married anymore." But to my surprise, as I was eating dinner, Liu Ryan suddenly came home. This was unusual, since lately she'd been staying at the company dormitory, saying it was more convenient for overtime. From what I knew, Zhuo Jiasheng lived there too. When she saw me clearing the dishes and heading to the kitchen, she froze for a moment. "Shen Huan, I haven't had dinner yet," I casually said. "Then you better order takeout quickly, or the restaurants will close soon." Liu Ryan couldn't hide her shock. She had a stomach condition, and her diet required careful attention. In the past, no matter how badly we argued, as soon as she asked, I would soften and cook for her. Especially this time, since she had come home on her own after our fight. She frowned, standing at the door without moving. I knew she was waiting for me to go over and comfort her, but after tidying up the kitchen, I headed toward the bedroom. Without looking at her once, it wasn't until I was about to close the door that she rushed over and grabbed my hand. I looked at her, confused. "Shen Huan, stop being ridiculous. There's a reason for those photos." Liu Ryan pressed her lips together. "Zhuo Jiasheng's family favors his older brother, and they're forcing him to return home and marry a disabled girl in exchange for a higher dowry, so his brother can buy a car and a house. He really had no choice, so he asked me to pretend to be his girlfriend. Those posts on his social media were staged to show his family. He doesn't mean any harm. There's really nothing between us. I only kept it from you because I didn't want you to feel hurt. Don't misunderstand. Liu Ryan had always been like this. She knew exactly how inappropriate Zhuo Jiasheng's actions were, yet she defended him. If I ever showed even the slightest dissatisfaction, she would impatiently frown. "It's such a small thing. Why are you making a big deal out of it?" She'd accuse me of having a dirty mind, of tarnishing the pure colleague relationship between her and Zhuo Jiasheng. I had long grown used to her favoritism, so I gave her a smile. "All right, I understand." At the same time, I gently withdrew my hand. The moment I finished speaking, Liu Ryan's expression was one of disbelief. After all, in situations like this before, I would always demand an explanation, causing a fuss. "I know you're upset about not getting the certificate today, but Zhuo Jiasheng has no family here. He has no one to rely on but me. Can you really stand by and watch him marry someone he doesn't love and live a miserable life?" Her tone softened, which was rare. "I've explained everything so clearly. Please don't be angry, all right?" "I'm not angry. I said I believe you too." Yawning, I added, "Can I go to my room and rest now? I'm really tired." "I'm exhausted. Let's talk tomorrow if there's anything else." I didn't wait for Liu Ryan's reaction, just shut the door and got into bed. There was a moment of silence outside. Then, a loud bang. Liu Ryan had slammed the door and left. I knew what she was upset about. She had gone out of her way to speak kindly, giving me an out, and I had the nerve not to take it. But I didn't care. I turned over and went to sleep. After that day, Liu Ryan and I began another Cold War. She didn't come home for more than half a month, nor did she contact me. But I didn't feel lost or anxious like I used to, worriedly trying to make peace. Instead, I focused all my time and energy on my own life. And then I realized, living alone these days made me incredibly happy. Even my anxiety and insomnia had eased significantly. It was also around this time that Liu Ryan updated her social media. The woman who used to refuse to post couple photos, no matter how much I begged, had now surprisingly started documenting her life. Watched a movie with Juo Jia-sheng today. Tomorrow, I'm taking Juo Jia-sheng to a trendy cafe. The day after, we'll both go to the temple for blessings. She was posting dozens of updates a day, practically flooding my WeChat moments. It was dizzying. And I accidentally liked a photo of her and Juo Jia-sheng to cheek at an amusement park. Just as I was about to undo it, Liu Ryan called me. Shen Huan, I knew you couldn't resist getting jealous. Her sugary sweet voice was laced with obvious pride. Then she said she was coming to pick me up to go get our marriage certificate. I even hired a photographer for the occasion and bought flowers. I'll make it up to you properly this time. I frowned and stopped her. Liu Ryan, you don't have to do this. She paused for a moment, then laughed softly. There you go, being all coy and saying the opposite of what you mean again. Before I could refuse, she hung up. After work, she pulled up to my office. Colleagues all around were watching curiously. So I had no choice but to get into the car. But we hadn't driven far when Liu Ryan's phone rang. Ryan, yeah, I'm being followed. Juo Jia-sheng's panicked, whimpering voice came from the other end. Could it be my parents hired someone to drag me back home and force me to marry? Ryan, what should I do? I'm so scared. I saw Liu Ryan tighten her grip on the steering wheel, the veins on the back of her hand bulging. The first thing you should do when being followed is call the police, I calmly suggested. If you can't do it right now, I can help. Shen Huan, Liu Ryan shouted, cutting me off. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. Jia-sheng's life is in danger right now, and you're here making sarcastic comments. I've already agreed to get the marriage certificate with you. Why are you still causing trouble? I'm not causing trouble, I replied calmly. This is the most logical thing to do. After all, if something were to really happen to Juo Jia-sheng, even if you rushed over now, it would be too late. Funny enough, this was something Liu Ryan had taught me. Back when I was on a 10-day business trip, working non-stop, I caught a severe cold. Feeling utterly exhausted. Coincidentally, the airport was undergoing renovations, and I couldn't get a ride. I thought about asking Liu Ryan to pick me up, but she refused without hesitation. If you're in trouble, call the police. Even elementary school kids know that. So, with no other choice, I dragged myself home on foot, only to faint halfway. A kind stranger took me to the hospital. Later, I found out she had been watching a romantic movie with Juo Jia-sheng at the time, which was why she didn't want to come get me. Now, I was just using the same logic she taught me. So why was she so upset? Ryan, yeah. Forget it. I'll be fine on my own. On the other end, Juo Jia-sheng sobbed continuously. Don't let me come between you two. The next second, from the other side, there was a loud scream. Ah! The phone call abruptly ended. Jia-sheng! Liu Ryan instantly panicked. She breathed heavily, frantically tapping her phone. At the same time, without a word, she yanked me out of the passenger seat. I'm going to help Jia-sheng first. I'll come back for you later. In the meantime, you should reflect on yourself. You've become so malicious, cursing others and turning into someone so cold and selfish. Her face was cold and indifferent. The car sped away in front of me. I finally hailed a ride, paying triple the usual fare, and managed to get home just before the storm hit. As I was relaxing in the jacuzzi, I suddenly got a call from Liu Ryan's best friend. Shen Huan, Ryan's been in a car accident. Come to the hospital quickly. You should let Juo Jia-sheng take care of her. I'm busy at the moment. Just opened a bottle of red wine. Can't let it go to waste. Shen Huan. That's heartless. Ryan was rushing to see you. That's why she skidded in the rain and had the accident. Besides, there really is nothing going on between her and Juo Jia-sheng. Suddenly, there was a loud noise on the other end, followed by Liu Ryan's furious scream. Who asked him to take care of me? The line went dead. Feeling no guilt, I thoughtfully hung up first. After a moment of reflection, I sent Juo Jiasheng a message on WeChat, letting him know about Liu Ryan's accident. After all, Liu Ryan was half his savior. Now it was his turn to repay the favor. A fair exchange. A matter of returning kindness. Pure friendship. I understood. Later, before going to bed, I checked my phone one last time. As expected, Juo Jiasheng had updated his social media. In the photo, he was affectionately holding Liu Ryan by the shoulder. Liu Ryan was slightly lowering her head, the two of them leaning so close. It was as if their breaths were mingling. Here's Ryan, a woman without a boyfriend to care for her. But don't worry, from now on, I'll be the one protecting her. I gave it a like. Then turned off the lights and went to sleep. When I woke up early the next morning, the post had disappeared. At the same time, there was quite a commotion outside the door. I looked up, only to see Liu Ryan, who was supposed to be lying in a hospital bed, limping toward me with a dark expression. She stood right in front of me. Shenwan, you've really outdone yourself. I'm injured, hospitalized. And you really didn't react at all. She gripped my hand tightly, her voice seething with anger. Do you even remember who you are anymore? What's going on? Being interrogated first thing in the morning, I was completely bewildered. Aren't you supposed to be my boyfriend? Why are you asking another man to take care of me? Do you know I was so upset with you last night that I couldn't sleep? The pain from my wound kept me tossing and turning. And now that we've met, not even a word of concern from you. In the past, when we fought or had a cold war, you'd come to comfort me right away. But this time, I waited for so long. Why didn't you come find me? Her eyes, slightly red, gazed at me. Those once angry eyes now filled with fear. Because I trust you, I said, rubbing my still sleepy eyes. Yawning one after another. You and Juo Jiasheng are just friends, right? You just helped him with a big problem. So it's only natural he returns the favor by taking care of you. That's how it should be. I thought my response was polite and appropriate, but Liu Ryan's reaction left me puzzled. No, it shouldn't be like this. This isn't right. She trembled all over, breathing heavily, her chest rising and falling. I didn't understand, so I prepared to head back for a nap. At that moment, Liu Ryan grabbed my hand. Let's go get the marriage certificate. We agreed yesterday. We can't back out now. She looked at me with hopeful eyes, and upon closer inspection, there was a hint of pleading in her gaze. It was rare for Liu Ryan to show vulnerability in front of me. She seemed to think that by doing this, everything that had happened before could be brushed aside. But I was truly exhausted. I didn't want to continue this endless entanglement anymore. Just as I hesitated, wondering if this was the right moment to bring up the idea of breaking up, her phone rang again. Before I could react, Liu Ryan's face darkened, and she hung up the call immediately. But within seconds, the phone rang again. I snapped out of it. It was Juo Jiasheng calling. He was the only one who could be this persistent. I thought Liu Ryan would answer, but unexpectedly, she hung up again. Then, the phone rang for a third time. I was already annoyed by the sound. Just answer it. It might be something urgent. Liu Ryan lowered her eyes. No! Getting the marriage certificate with you is the most important thing right now. Despite her words, she hesitated for a moment, then answered the call. Moments later, her expression suddenly shifted to panic. Jiasheng's parents have cornered him. They're going to forcibly take him home. I waved her off, interrupting. Then go quickly. It's a matter of life and death. Shen Huan, I'll take you to get the certificate after I handle this. Before turning to leave, Liu Ryan made a solemn promise. You must wait for me. I gave her a distant, polite smile. Then, as quickly as I could, I packed up all my belongings. I moved out of that house. Moving is quite an ordeal. And after settling into my new apartment, I collapsed onto the bed, exhausted, and fell asleep instantly. When I woke up again, the sky outside was bathed in the orange glow of the setting sun. The phone I had casually tossed onto the couch was long out of battery. As soon as I plugged it into the power bank, the screen lit up with dozens of missed calls from Liu Ryan. And she had sent me dozens of messages as well. Shen Huan, I've dealt with Jia Sheng's situation. I'm coming to pick you up soon. There's really nothing between him and me. You have to trust me. Where are you? Why can't I reach you? Do you not love me anymore? Why are all your things gone from the house? Shen Huan, where are you? Answer me. Mixed in were messages from Liu Ryan's best friends, all vouching for the pure friendship between her and Zhuo Jiasheng, begging me to reconcile with her. What surprised me, though, was that Zhuo Jiasheng had also sent me several messages. Unlike everyone else, his words were full of provocation. Shen Huan, last night, when I held Ryan Ya as we fell asleep, I noticed she has a little red mole on her chest. So sexy, don't you think? The one who isn't loved is the third wheel. If you're smart, you'll step aside sooner. Otherwise, when you're kicked to the curb, you'll lose all your dignity. I'm young and handsome. You've got no advantage over me. Just get lost, you old man. Zhuo Jiasheng was only 2 years younger than me, and yet here I was a senior executive, while he was still a restricted intern, focusing solely on age. How pathetic. In response, I let out a soft chuckle and casually replied, "So you won't even live to be my age, huh?" Apparently not expecting me to reply, Zhuo Jiasheng immediately retracted all his previous messages. He then sent and instantly deleted a voice message. Shen Huan, you can't beat me. Believe it or not, with just one gesture from me, Ryan Ya will come running back to my side. His voice was dripping with provocation. Not even 5 minutes later, my phone pinged with a new message. It was a fresh text from Liu Ryan. Shen Huan, Jiasheng is a bit mentally unstable from being frightened by his parents. He can't leave my side right now. But I promise, I'll come pick you up for the marriage certificate tomorrow. Wait for me. I snorted in amusement, then blocked her on every platform. A few days later, I attended the full-month celebration for a former colleague's newborn. He was brimming with pride, inviting our entire department to the event. After carefully picking out a gift, I hurried to the hotel. But I didn't expect to run into Liu Ryan in the elevator. The moment she saw me, her once gloomy and irritable demeanor immediately brightened. Shen Huan! She rushed over and threw herself into my arms, her voice filled with unmistakable joy. You came to celebrate my birthday, didn't you? I knew it. You definitely wouldn't forget. No! I really did forget. I paused for a moment. So today's your birthday, huh? Her body stiffened instantly. You forgot? How could you? You would have never treated me like this before. As I met her furious gaze, I felt a bit dazed. Indeed, in the past, for every one of Liu Ryan's birthdays, I would plan everything ahead of time. I'd carefully select the gifts she loved, whether it was a rare, expensive designer handbag or a priceless diamond watch. I'd spare no expense to get it for her. However, sorry, I really did forget. I slowly pulled myself out of her embrace. In the past, if I had done something that embarrassed Liu Ryan like this, she would have exploded in anger, and we would have had a cold war for days. But this time, she didn't react at all. Her voice was hoarse as she muttered, "It's okay. As long as you're here, that's all that matters. I don't mind. Everything is ready. Come with me to cut the birthday cake." No! I'm actually here to attend a colleague's baby celebration. Isn't that Shen Huanjie? Just as I was about to politely decline, the door of the next private room opened, and Zhuo Jiasheng appeared, wearing a blue apron. Coincidentally, Liu Ryan was wearing a pink one, a matching couple's outfit. How fitting! In the blink of an eye, a crowd of people emerged from the room behind them. I glanced briefly at the scene. It seemed like all of Liu Ryan's close friends were there. Everyone urged me to quickly enter the private room and take a seat, as if there had never been any friction between me and Liu Ryan. On this side, Liu Ryan's eyes were filled with hope. Wow, Shen Huanjie is carrying such a big bag. Is it a birthday gift for Ryan, yeah? Come on, let us see. Zhuo Jiasheng suddenly snatched the gift bag from my hand. By the time I tried to take it back, he had already torn half of the packaging. Don't you know that taking things from others without asking is really rude? My expression instantly darkened, but Zhuo Jiasheng didn't seem to care, feigning innocence as he blinked. I just wanted everyone to see how much love you have for Ryan. That's all. Ryan, yeah. I didn't do anything wrong, did I? I saw Liu Ryan nod, a rare smile spreading across her face. But when Zhuo Jiasheng finally opened the gift, it was a light painting of an adorable baby, with 4 large characters glowing, healthy and carefree. Liu Ryan's expectant smile froze in an instant. The room fell into a dead silence. No way! Shen Huan! Today is Ryan Ji's birthday. Why would you give her something so irrelevant? Don't you know that Ryan Ya is a career-driven woman? She's not planning to have kids anytime soon. You must be doing this on purpose to make her feel uncomfortable. Zhuo Jiasheng was the only one who shouted in exaggerated surprise, before angrily speaking up. Ryan Ya treats you so well every day, and yet you do something like this? It's completely out of line. Don't be sad, Ryan Ya. So what if he's your boyfriend? There are people who genuinely care for you. Like me. I've prepared something special. Shut up! Liu Ryan suddenly shouted. The ever-protected and favored Zhuo Jiasheng was stunned. Enough! Let me have some peace. Her hoarse voice was filled with exhaustion. The scene left me surprised. If I remember correctly, this was the first time Liu Ryan had ever spoken harshly to Zhuo Jiasheng, and as expected, his eyes turned red, brimming with tears. But for once, Liu Ryan didn't rush to comfort him. Instead, she turned to face me, her gaze intense. It's okay, as long as it's from you. No matter what it is, I love it. Actually, I've started to like children too. Especially the thought of having one with you. Really, you have to believe me. She cautiously held my hand. Can we cut the cake together now? Shen Huan? In the past, if I had heard such a heartfelt confession from Liu Ryan, I would have been overwhelmed with emotion, unable to sleep for 3 nights. But now, as I listened, I felt absolutely nothing. In that moment, I realized completely I had truly moved on. So, with her expectant eyes watching me, I shook my head, then gently pulled my hand away. Sorry, Liu Ryan. From now on, I won't be spending any more of your birthdays with you. Let's break up. As soon as the words left my mouth, Liu Ryan's eyes filled with tears. No, I don't agree. Breaking up is a one-sided decision. I don't need your agreement. I looked at her steadily, just as she had so many times cast me aside for Zhuo Jiasheng. This time, it was finally my turn. But after all, we had known each other for so long. A simple happy birthday seemed like the least I could do. I have to go to my friend's baby celebration, so I won't stay any longer. You all can continue. I smiled faintly and walked away without looking back. Behind me, Liu Ryan shouted my name in anguish, her eyes bloodshot. Can you really bear to leave like this? Happy birthday, Liu Ryan. I looked back at her, smiling casually. And goodbye forever. I left. rushing to make sure I didn't miss the full month celebration. Luckily, I arrived just in time, as my colleague held his baby. He and his wife kissed their child, their love's perfect little creation. I couldn't resist capturing the moment on my phone, recording the warmth of it all. After a few peaceful days passed, I thought I would never be involved with Liu Ryan again. I also thought that being the strong woman she was, she would move on hand in hand with her precious one toward a happy future. But unexpectedly, I first received a barrage of insults from a frantic Zhuo Jia Sheng. Shen Huan, you bastard! What kind of trick did you pull to make Liu Ryan fall so deeply for you? Late at night, as I was staying up late sipping coffee to finish a project, Zhuo Jia Sheng's bitter, piercing voice bombarded my ears relentlessly. Liu Ryan used to care about me the most. Time and time again. She always chose me without hesitation. But ever since you were out of the picture, she refuses to see me. She even pulled strings to transfer me out of her department. Tell me, aren't you the one behind all of this? You deadbeat. You're just a jealous third wheel. You can't stand seeing others happy, can you? His endless ranting completely derailed my train of thought. Even a clay figure would lose their temper by now. Zhuo Jia Sheng, watch your mouth, or I won't hesitate to send you on a little trip to the police station. I replied calmly. What's the matter? So the love you stole so confidently isn't bringing you happiness? Not wanting to waste more time with someone like him? I immediately blocked him. Then I unblocked Liu Ryan and sent her all the chat logs of Zhuo Jia Sheng's provocations. Though he had quickly retracted his messages, I had anticipated it and had already started screen recording. Everything he plotted was saved. Not long after I sent the evidence, Liu Ryan happily messaged me, Shen Huan, you unblocked me. Does that mean you've forgiven me now? Without hesitation, I blocked her again. Let the two of them tear each other apart. I fully expected that Liu Ryan and Zhuo Jia Sheng's relationship would end in a rather ugly showdown. But I never expected things to unravel so spectacularly. Our companies, mine and Liu Ryan's, were in the same industry, competitors even, so the gossip from the other side always reached us hot and fresh. It was through my colleagues that I learned. Zhuo Jia Sheng was something of a marvel. This innocent green tea man wasn't just playing around with Liu Ryan, the strong woman hero type. No! There were several wealthy older women caught up in his web. Zhuo Jia Sheng had been weaving his way between rich women, manipulating them with his fabricated tales. Even that sad story about how his family favored his brother and how he was forced to marry was completely made up. It turned out he did have an older brother, but his brother was a simple, quiet man. When they were children, Zhuo Jia Sheng once pushed him into a river, nearly drowning him. He had been oppressing his brother ever since. When his brother worked away for years, saving up to come home and marry his girlfriend, Zhuo Jia Sheng snuck back and stole all his savings. But that wasn't the end. He borrowed money all over the village, racking up debts that reached over $1 million. The stress caused his parents to suffer strokes, landing them both in the hospital. His brother was forced to cancel the wedding and go back to working just to pay off Zhuo Jia Sheng's debts. The so-called stalkers? They were just villagers who had been scammed out of their life savings, desperately trying to get back what was theirs. Zhuo Jia Sheng had deliberately misled everyone, turning the tables on the innocent people, and even sending them to jail. Fortunately, the truth finally came to light. The one who deserved to be behind bars was him. A week after everything unfolded, I saw you Ryan outside the company. She looked utterly broken. In just a few days, she had lost so much weight. Her face pale and sickly yellow. Her figure was disheveled, as if she had aged 10 years in an instant. But it wasn't surprising. Liu Ryan had always seen herself as a proud, untouchable woman. Back when we were dating, she always held the upper hand. And now, this once arrogant, strong woman had been played like a fool by a liar full of deceit. It was a brutal slap to her face. However, none of this concerned me anymore. I took a deep breath and walked past her calmly. But unexpectedly, Liu Ryan suddenly pulled out a diamond ring. Shen Huan! Even though I know whatever I say now will sound like excuses, I still want to try. Her hands trembled as she slowly knelt on one knee. I admit I was wrong to get involved with Zhuo Jiasheng. I let my mind wander. But I can promise you, nothing ever happened between us. I'll change, I swear. I've already booked the date for our marriage certificate and your favorite photographer, plus a beautiful suit for you. Whatever you want, I'll make it happen. Shen Huan, marry me, please. I have to admit, the ring Liu Ryan chose was beautiful. The diamond was crystal clear, almost like the tears that had soaked my pillow night after night. So, I smiled and refused. Liu Ryan, there's no way we can be together. After finally pulling myself out of the mud, I won't make the same mistake again. Liu Ryan would never understand that as she gradually lost herself in our past relationship, I was suffering through my own torment and pain. When it comes to love, men can be sensitive too. The moment I first caught the unfamiliar scent of perfume on Liu Ryan, I knew our relationship was already ringing its death knell. But I kept letting myself drown in it. Because of love. Because I couldn't let go. Because of an endless cycle of self-abandonment. When I found out that Zhuo Jiasheng was just a regular guy from the countryside, a plain-looking vocational school graduate, I completely broke down. It wasn't out of jealousy or comparison, but because I began to endlessly doubt myself. Here I was, a graduate from a prestigious university, with a good family background, standing 183 centimeters tall with a six-pack. Whenever I stepped out, people would compliment me, calling me a handsome guy. But somehow, I lost my charm in front of my girlfriend. Was it my personality that was terrible? Had I done something wrong? Maybe I wasn't as exceptional as I thought I was. I started losing confidence, caught in a vicious cycle of overthinking and self-doubt. I became anxious, unable to sleep. My complexion darkened day by day, my hair falling out in clumps. I forced myself to see a psychologist, exposing myself, breaking down and piecing myself back together. Each time Liu Ryan stood me up or flaked, it was another wound for me to heal from. The pain of it all was so excruciating, so unbearable. But fortunately, I made it through all that hardship. I survived it. So I will never allow myself to fall back into such an irreparable state again. As I watched her desolate figure walk away, I felt nothing. I was ready to hail a cab and go home to rest. There's nothing that a good night's sleep can't make you forget and move on from. And if one night's not enough, then sleep a few more. A new day will always come. The end.